Good morning, everybody. Happy Jimmy Carter Eve.
Oh my God, that's so funny. It is Jimmy Carter. They're sunsetting his his body and turning it. But tomorrow is there's no trading tomorrow. They declared a national day of federal nobody works, including the markets, and so uh, you get a day off from trading the markets, but it also means that your options are shortened by a trading day for the week,
Yeah.
and it's a shorter week overall.
Well, I just noticed like on Schwab that they do 24-hour trading now on everything. I just noticed that. So they're competing with Robinhood. So I think that's going to be the norm for all brokers accounts. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. Now I don't need a Robinhood anymore.
Robinhood always had a problematic interface anyway.
Yeah.
And then they announced they're going to go to a 22-hour trading day. Also, they're going to trade from like the extended hours would go until like 10 p.m. and then what was it, 11 p.m. and reopen at 1 a.m. So that's coming down the pipe as well. So I guess the other brokers are just getting ready for that anyway.
People have a short attention span, so they need more time looking at their screens and trading. So there has to be a way to lose more money.
Oh yeah, the best way to do it is get them late at night when it's 3 a.m. and
got to panic sell or panic buy. That's the best time to panic.
They've been binge watching The Wolf of Wall Street back-to-back marathons, and then they're like, oh, let me check my stocks every 2 seconds.
Yep.
And 3 a.m. is like when you see those commercials for the spray on hair. Remember that one? If your hair was thinning, you could just shake this can of stuff, and it was just like spray paint for your head. That was a big seller. At 3 a.m. on Nick at Night.
You're dating yourself there. No.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I've been around.
And so am I for knowing that too. Dang it.
Well,
all right.
Let's get our shit started. The indices all up. Let's talk about them. Let's do your thing.
Yeah. So SPY, let's panic, everybody, because it's holding support. So it's always great to panic at support. And this 585, I've been talking about this for over 2 months now, guys. Ever since it broke out here, I've been saying this is probably your support zone, and it has been, right? So I'm not going to assume lower until there's proof that this wants to go below the 585 on weekly candle closes. And so far, so good. So QQQ, it's also looking like it's still trying to maintain this conversion line. We'll see by the weekly candle close on Friday. But 516.82 is the target to close back above. But if not, guess what? There's still a buttload of support down below at the 497.46. So basically, this is still a super bullish chart, regardless if it needs to test a little lower support. And the IWM is looking mighty good too, because why? It's still holding above the baseline and still holding above this 219.79.702. So this is really the focus. All it did this week is go back up to the 786, get rejected at the 226.74. And this is looking normal, right? Normal. There's nothing to worry about with any of these indices currently. So whoever is doom posting out there on X, I just don't see it yet. I don't see it. And even if things do go a little bit lower, there's still a lot of support below. So this is just a normal back test going on in the markets before things try to resume their uptrend. All right, let's see. Let's just do Tesla real quick because I know people are freaking out about Tesla.
Yeah, there's one thing I wanted to add to the show that we hadn't been doing, which is let's look at the VIX every day. I used to do this regularly, and I just kind of lost the habit of it. And now, I should really take a look at the VIX every day. So if you just pop me up for a second, then we'll come right back into Tesla.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so here's the VIX. These are weekly candlesticks because we kind of do want to take a more macro view with this. You can see such things as oh, COVID back here in 2020, in March of 2020. And that really had that big sell-off, gave us all this beautiful price action for, and I mean, if you bought this dip in COVID, you made so much money during this time. And then here we have the Japanese carry trade, which was almost as bad as COVID. Didn't quite go as high, but still went pretty high. But you know, all the indices and everything, they came out okay. And what I see now, let's just expand this back. We're in this triangle here. Now remember, the VIX, when it goes up, that means things are getting more volatile. There's more selling off taking place. And then as it calms down, people relax and they get more bullish and buy things. And then if nothing happens, it is sort of like a rolling option. So it has contango, meaning if all else being equal, it just wants to drift back down anyway. So with that in mind, it has been, ever since the Japanese carry trade, you had a lot more volatility. It's like when you drop a stone in the pond, a big stone, and it makes a big splash and you get a lot of ripples, and it takes a while for it to calm down. And so what we just had here, you know, the Satan really, instead of the Satan rally, the Santa rally, was a big spike in volatility, a big sell-off right here in towards the end of December. And then it kind of calmed back down, and it's still oscillating. And you can see the Ichimoku cloud is kind of indicating this possible spike back up here. And for a while, this Ichimoku baseline is still going to be up here. So just let's keep an eye on this on the horizon, that it kind of might want to do another spike up here towards the end of March. Possibly. It doesn't have to happen. It could just stay down here and then all this could calm down. But just keep that in the back of your mind. And that's what I wanted to do for the VIX. And I guess maybe for the day too. Yeah, it looks like on the 4-hour chart, so 2 candles is today's trading, or 3 candles maybe. It's under resistance here above, so maybe we won't see quite as much sell-off as we did yesterday. Kind of cursed yesterday, hoping it would be green day, and we got red day. All right, go ahead, Matt. Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla. Yeah, I see a comment about the Schwab started their 24-hour a while ago, but nothing has filled. I think you got to like toggle in between, like you got to choose extended or AM or PM or whatever. You got to go toggle in between there, or just call your broker just to identify how to do it, because you can't just do a regular order because it's not during market hours. So you have to choose the right switch, the right button. But anyways, Tesla, the way I see it, nothing has changed from last week. It's still basically right in the middle of this 886, the 378.85, and the previous all-time high. And not only that, you can see these dotted lines here. Well, I can make it more clearly, and you can just see that this zone that it's in right now is basically retesting all of these wicks over here still, right? So this is still basically a back test of the previous all-time highs, right? Because there was only one candle that closed above this black line that I just drew right there, right? I can take it off so you can see more clearly. It's still basically building a base on top of this. So this is a super bullish development for Tesla that most people don't even recognize. And this is why I don't really assume lower, because even it does go back down to the 380s or the 370s again, like it's still just a normal back test of this whole zone right here. Not just the candle right here, the one candle, it's the whole zone. So this is really building a base at a higher level, guys, no matter how deep it goes again. And it's still well above last week's lows. So I don't know why people are still assuming 340s, 320s, zero, whatever you're out there, you're thinking. I just don't see a reason to think that yet, because it's still in the 390s. Even pre-market is still in the 390s. So let's just play it one day at a time, 1 week at a time. And if you always assume lower, then like I always say, you never are going to buy support, right? You never will do it. And right now, this is all the support zone right here, all the way down to last week's lows. And this is a bullish development for the future. And I cannot be more happy with what I see with Tesla every single day. So
Yep. So Matt won't tell you, but when he says it's at support or it's testing support, those are the hints that this is when you want to be accumulating shares.
Yeah, I'm actually accumulating TSLL last week, and I will be doing it more this week too.
Yeah, Cadogan Enright wrote right at the beginning of the show before we started. This is commentators are commenting that while it's in a long-term bull channel, it might be in a short-term bear channel to 341 at the same time. Do you see a lot of support before 341 on your chart? I see a lot of support on your chart.
I see a lot of support at 341 or before 341, starting in the 370s, right? And last week it wicked down to, what did it get to? 373. Like all of this, if it makes a higher low than last week, then how can you even assume the 340s, right? And so far that's what it's doing. So, and I really think that, and I know Kat agrees because he made a post about it this morning in the AM, that I think it's still going to close above the conversion line, right? The 398.88. And that is why? Because it's the first touch. Yeah. It's the first touch. Last week it did not touch it, right? So this is the first touch, and it's currently wicking below. And yes, it could be a wick because by Friday it could close above and just turn into a wick. So 398.88 is really the level I'm watching for the weekly candle close to see if it just closes above that or in the 400 range. So I think there's a high probability of that happening because it's the very first touch of the conversion line from the breakout back in November 4th.
Yeah. And it just needs a new higher high to pull that baseline up. That's all. I can see where the baseline makes people think, oh, what if it runs down to the baseline? But it's got to break the conversion line.
Yeah, it's got to break that first, and it has to break these. It has to break these fib levels too, and it has to go lower than last week, right? There's a lot of steps that have to happen before it wants to go to the 340s, 30s, whatever. So
I'll elaborate more on my technical chart
yeah.
later after the show, so we need more time to have requests today.
Okay.
So let's just skip my Tesla chart. I'm going to post something publicly anyway.
I wanted to do Palantir too, just because there's more panic in that too. But guess what Palantir is doing too? Yeah. Same as Tesla, guys. Same as Tesla. It's back testing the conversion line for the very first time this week, and it's at 71.66. So the probability of Palantir closing above 71.66 is actually pretty high. So this could just turn into a wick. People are saying, oh, it's below 69 or broke 69, but I don't care about that. I care about the weekly candle close, right? I care about that. And at least the 69.15 is right there as well, right below it. So there's a couple of confluences of support for Palantir right now. And yes, it is 68.61 pre-market, but who cares, right? It's only Wednesday. Tomorrow's a holiday, and Friday is the last trading day. So I'll take my cues on how this candle closes on Friday, but I think both Tesla and Palantir have a good chance of closing above resistance to the week. So that's my focus for both of them.
I'm hoping for a green day here soon so I can raise some more cash to buy some more Palantir.
And I wanted to show Sofi too, just because people are saying it hit a brick wall. And Sofi is doing the same thing. Last week it touched the conversion line and it bounced, right? This week it's doing the same thing, but the question is, will it bounce? All right. So 15.10 is that conversion line. But ultimately what really happened is it got rejected by the, we'll go to the log scale. It got rejected by the 702, the 1606 up there. So the chance of going back to the 1369 is there, right? And it could just wick right through these levels, the orange level of my GAN and that level. So regardless, I think support is near. And yes, 1360s is near to current price. It's not that far away because things are pretty volatile. So if it does need to back test it finally, then that would be fine, right? It would be the first back test since it broke out, which is a normal process for things to continue higher. So do I think this 1510 has a chance to hold? Yes, I do. But if it doesn't, there's a lot of support below, and I will be buying that support.
Very nice. All right, let me take Stoic Outdoors' request here. He wants to talk about MicroStrategy here. Good morning, guys. Trying to learn TA tracker. This MicroStrategy dip looks like a 1-2 retest on the 50% fib for Elliott wave. What do you see? And Well, this is the way I see MicroStrategy now, is that these are weekly candlesticks. And I just go back to the beginning of time for the wave start. And then that high, that all-time high we hit, that is my new wave one top. And then the low that we struck, 285.01, that is my larger degree wave two. So now we are in wave three. And the way I do my fibs, I kind of do, this is wave three sub one, wave three sub two. This is all of wave three complete. I kind of skip the 4 and 5 sub waves, all of 4 and all of 5. It's just a quick way to be able to do a whole chart with one indicator drawing. So that being said, this is wave 3 sub 1, wave 3 sub 2, and that's where if you want confirmation on a pattern, if you want to wait and be cautious and be sure that what the elotician sees is correct, you got to wait for the 1, 2, sub 1, sub 2 to complete. And if you see that, that is a high confirmation that the wave 3 sub 3 is going to continue on. It's always tricky though too, because sometimes the wave 2 down here extends, or the wave 3 sub 2 extends, but eventually it does confirm a bottom by making a new higher high than the wave 1 here. Anyway, that being said, this is my large degree wave 1, large degree wave 2. And so where are we at? I mean, you mentioned a 50% fib. I mean, I kind of look at it, this is already done. The wave 5 is done up here for this smaller degree. And just like Matt and Kat were talking about this magical thing that happens with these retraces, you could basically you could look at it as another kind of confirmation if we can get above the 78.6 retrace here. So once price can get over 491.88, even if it's just a wick above and it does a liquidity grab below, I mean, that is a really good place to look for. That's a kind of confirmation, I'm going to say a pre-confirmation. So that's what I'm looking for really hard, this 491.88 to be broken higher than. And we're at 341.43 right now. And the highest we've gotten since hitting the bottom was 385, but it's working on it. That's a 382 retrace, back to the 236. The 618 is next at 447.66. I could just draw that real quick. Click, click, click. Oh crap, this isn't the right tool. Anyway, sorry to be drawing charts in the show, but that's how it works. Yeah, and that'll get us to 447.66. It's going to have to do a little thing here before it can get higher than 491.88 again. MicroStrategy, I'm bullish. We're bullish.
Yes. Yeah, me too. I mean, for my MicroStrategy chart, let me just switch over here.
DNW says they binge watch Margin Call to numb himself. What is Margin Call? Is that a TV series?
I don't know.
Or is that something on CNBC or something? That's cool.
No, I think it's like a
Matt.
movie or a show. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm really focused on two things here. One is the baseline, which is at 322.70. It held that perfectly as support last week, and I suspect it's going to hold again this week. And more importantly, I'm also looking at this Fibonacci extension, 339.67, to finish the week out strong, and the 45-degree angle right here to close back above it. So it did open above it this week. Maybe we'll just get a liquidity wick below it again and then close back above and then trend higher with this angle heading back towards all-time highs. So this is actually a very bullish setup for MicroStrategy, right? It was a big breakout of my blue GAN level. It was a nice back test. I was just like the rest of you. I was like, oh, maybe the gap is going to close right here, but it never did. So doesn't need to go down there. I mean, I guess it all depends on Bitcoin inevitably, but I think it needs to just hold, right? I think no matter what, even if it does need to wick down there, I think building a base on top of this blue GAN level near this 1.414, this is all bullish signs for the future for MicroStrategy. So this really implies that it wants to go back to all-time highs eventually. And as long as it stays in this zone here, this whole zone, it's very, very wide, but also very bullish, then things can continue higher.
I see a request for IonQ and RGTI. I noticed you were just talking about IonQ this morning. Do you want to?
Yeah, I can
do
I can go
IonQ?
IonQ. So
Okay.
I get
On his Patreon.
yeah when I get
on
on Patreon when I get the most chart requests are when things have already broken out. I get this all the time, like because people love to chase. They have this mentality that people love to chase, but that's actually like the wrong time really to want to request a chart. I hope one day people request and things are at support all the time, and that'll just make me very happy. But yeah, it was really trying to flip this angle right here to a support. Right. And you can see it was above it, above it, above it, but now in pre-market it's below it, which is kind of confirming this angle is still resistance. And I was always warning that this is a resistance zone, not really a support zone. So where is support? Well, it's all the way back down here, guys. It's 36, maybe even in the 30s. We put on the Ichimoku, we can see the conversion line is at 38, the baseline's at 30.48, and the arcs are right down there too. So I think it still has a ways to go to retest support because we know even Palantir and Tesla, they retested their conversion line. So that would be 38.02. So there is more room to fall for IonQ. But look at this massive run, right? If you look at this chart from basically the bottom here, it went up like 650%. So what do you guys expect? A 650%? I know a lot of people are late to the party, but this is why I don't recommend chasing, because when you chase, then you end up getting trapped if you buy up here and then it goes way down, then people panic and freak out. So the optimal time to buy this thing was the breakout of the cloud and the back test right here of this cloud. That would have been the optimal time to buy at $14, right? Charts give you opportunities to buy even after a massive move, right? This was a massive move from the 8 to the $16, $17. It was like more than a double, right? So it gave you an opportunity to buy there, but people don't want that. They want to chase when it's already made 600% gains. So this is why I never chase and I love to buy support. Don't get trapped that way.
All right, Joseph, we're going to give you a twofer. I'll do RGTI for you as well. So this is a kind of interesting chart. RGTI.
Did you stop sharing your screen?
Oh, good. Oh, I don't think so. Well, I must have. Sorry about that. Okay, great. Thanks. Sorry about that. Let's see. RGTI. I had charted this maybe for the same person, Joseph, before. Here's my wave 1 top, my wave 2 bottom, and it goes into wave 3 sub 1. And I was predicting 764382, but look what happened instead. It went all the way up to the 100%. So I'm going to say that probably I missed it. The wave 1 was probably something like 618236 flavor. And then so it's going to the 1236. And look, it did it already. And then back to the 764. And it went deeper than the 764. It went all the way to the 618 here. So my fifth, it's in the fifth wave now. And I'm going to target the 2236 for 32.39 now. Based on the flavor of fibs that we've been hitting now. It's kind of cool to come back to a chart that I drew a while ago, hadn't looked at, and come and see how it developed. So this one has changed a little bit. Wave 3 is done. Wave 4 is done. Wave 2 is very short. So unfortunately, this wave 4 could take a while longer. And just like Matt likes to look, you look to the right on the Ichimoku clouds, and it's way over there. So this might take a while. Which also means you have plenty of time to buy into this thing, but it might just extend farther out before going to wave 5 proper. But this is a pretty good support level to buy it. I don't think it's going to go lower than 1345. It really shouldn't. If it does, then it means somehow I got this wrong. That was the wave 5 top, and it goes to ABC. But then that means this is a 1, and this is the 2 down here. But if 1345 stays as the low, this is a good place to accumulate with a stop below it, maybe 1265, a couple pennies under this wave 1 top there. There you go. Let me just these aren't, this is done, that's done, and then here's your 32.39 target about from where price is right now. Look, you get the whole 126% gains back again. Possibly in as soon as, well, really might take a while. It could be a few weeks, 24 days or so, 24 calendar days. It kind of comes through this. At the longest, maybe. All right, there you go, RGTI. Matt, do you want to take another one?
Yeah, I'm gonna do. I see some altcoin requests, so I see Ethereum going on there, and Sui. So yeah, I see, and I also see when will the altcoin stop bleeding. Well, let's take a look here. So are things really bleeding? No, they're not. Right? Bleeding was like, in my opinion, bleeding is when they keep making lower lows on the short time frame right here, like you see back in July, August, September. This is bleeding. This is just a back test, guys. For Ethereum, it's a breakout, got rejected by the 886, and now what is it doing? It's back testing the 786 right here and my angle. And this is perfectly normal for building a base and trying to continue higher. So it did break out last week, and now it's back testing the lows basically of last week. So that's not really bleeding. That's just a back test. And then we can do a Sui next here. Let's see here. Sui. So yeah, Sui, we can see that this is not bleeding at all. It's still basically all-time highs, right? It did an all-time high last week, and now it's retracing that candle only halfway. And support really sits here at 411, 410. This zone down here for this 1.414 fib extension, but very bullish setup for the future for Sui. And I know I talked about XRP a little bit last night. The year of XRP, I see that in the chat too. Yeah, and yeah, it's now once again staying on top of the 886. We saw that Brad Garlinghouse did have dinner with Donald Trump last night. So what does that mean for the chart? I mean, it means absolutely nothing, right? The chart just says it's wants to stay around here as support. And really, the conversion line baseline is still way down here in the 170s. So does it need to go down there? No, it doesn't, right? It doesn't need to. And actually, there's only a couple of charts that are this bullish still. And it's this XRP, and it's also HBAR, right? HBAR is also maintaining a high level and not really even retesting anything. So this is really bullish for a lot of the altcoins, and none of them are really bleeding, right? Even the ones that you think are bleeding, let's look at Doge, right? This is just going back down to retest the halfway point of last week's candle, right? So it's all about perspective. And the bleeding was all of this right here from March all the way down to August and September of 2004. This was the bleeding. These are just back tests after a huge breakout, right? So maybe people think they're bleeding because they bought the breakout, right? They didn't buy any of the back tests. So this is why I always try to condition people, like, don't chase the breakout, because price usually comes back to you at a later time. And sure enough, everything is coming back to you at a later time. And then if people bought the breakout way up here, then they get trapped. And I don't like to see that. So with that said, what else we got here on the menu?
Let's see. Fubo is not a coin, right? It actually is an FEBO.
I think
stock.
They meant Fubo. They meant Fubo, FUBO.
Oh, they typed it Fubo.
Yeah, but they retyped. They retyped it lower. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I'll let you do it.
All right, I got a Fubo chart for you. Fubo TV, after Disney announced that they're going to do a thing with them. I need to read more on that actual deal that they're making. But yeah, if you just look here at the weekly chart, Fubo has many times tried to reclaim its former glory. But just looking at the last high that it had, 62.29, if we get an ABC retrace back towards that 62.29, that means the very first target it's going for now off of the all-time low of 96 cents is $24.39. And we're just down here at $5.46. So that's pretty awesome that it could be it could run that high. Now we do need to look at it kind of more on the shorter term scale so that you don't lose your shirt buying into it. Oh, but what do I see? I see the same pattern again. What is it doing? Let's take it from here and pull this out. It hit the all-time high. Oh, wait, I got to return it back. Well, now let's just look at it this way. It needs to. It's done the 786. It hasn't strayed far. If it could just get back over the 786 again, the 548, I think it'll just keep running without much back testing at all. And it seems to be what the Ichimoku Cloud wants to do on the 1 hour. On the 4 hour, there's nothing except that, you know, the base Ichimoku baseline could bring it back up to $4, could bring it back to $4, could bring it back to, well, we're under it. Yeah, just look for, if you get a chance to buy it at $4, great. I've already started accumulating it. I like it. I like this possibility for it. Zooming up. Maybe I'm chasing a little bit too much here, but I'm also just not going to worry about a dollar here or a dollar there if it can really get to $24.39 next. And on the way there, it's going to have to go through 1543. So do expect it to hit resistance at 1543, but then overcome it to get to 24.39. Then a quick retest back at 1543 before going on higher. If it can do the whole retrace to 49.17 for the wave C top.
All right.
Yeah, and right now all the buy orders are still arguing between the sell wall starts at about $6.16.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts, it just broke out, so I don't have much to say. Yeah, I don't have much to say. But I do see a request for Sol Strategies, which is a OTC stock, and I'll just take a look at that. I do have a GAN for it because actually some of my Patreon people requested it too, and yeah, it broke out massively again. Right, another one that went from like pennies here down up to $2, so it's a massive breakout. Right, it's almost like a crypto, really. So we can see that. I guess it is, right, Sol? Yeah. It's basically like building a base now, trying to at least on top of this arc and above here. So my target would be basically stay above like the 150s. Then I think this can get more and more bullish. But if it drops below the 150s, then I think a retest of like the lower $1 range is possible. So bullish chart. But again, it is kind of extended, so just be a little bit cautious here because, as we know, extended charts do like to backtest lower levels.
All right, and I got Gevo here as well to go with Fubo, and I'm just going to show I just did this chart yesterday in yesterday's morning show. So if you want to see the whole thing, just go back and watch it from yesterday's show. But I did set up this patience buy zone, and look, it paid off. It did backtest in this buy zone between the conversion line and the baseline. And I think once it touches that baseline, or it doesn't even have to touch the baseline, but it does want to eventually go to 376 next with a backtest to 253 and then on higher. But I think this is a great place to accumulate Gevo before it bottoms out, maybe at 223 possibly, and then on to 376 next. Let's see. HNST? I don't even know what that is. The Honest Company. All right, Matt, do you want to do another chart and I'll whip this thing up?
Yeah, I can just.
Or I could do something.
I see a GME request here, so everybody's talking about it, and I'll show my 4-hour GME chart here. So it looks better and better, right? It looks like it finally overcome this arc here on the 4-hour chart. It finally back tested it yesterday, and it's trying to hold this blue angle as support. So today this is around $33. So just stay above 33 today, then I think this can start to maybe build a base on top of it finally, like it tried to do in the past, but it never was successful. But I think it kind of has a chance to now. Which means if it stays above this blue angle, the next short-term target is going to be way up here at the $46. So, does that have any confluence of the high time frame chart here? We'll take a look, and 46 would be a breakout of the cloud, right? So that is what I'm really focused on: breaking out of the cloud. 37.44, flipping that to support, and then it'll go to the 46, which actually is the 618 right here on my high time frame log scale chart. So yes, 4-hour resistance has also confirmation and confluence with weekly resistance. So I can see that happening next, but the first step is this blue angle must hold as a support now in order to get up to this $46 level. So really watching this closely, but it's looking more and more bullish, especially on the weekly chart, how it's really pressing up against all this resistance here. So once this resistance is broken, I think it has much more room to go.
Yep, I've got the same thing on my chart. You don't have to show it. I'll just say that basically my wave 3 sub 1 goes up to 71.09. So I think it'll get a crazy wick up to $71. That's the squeeze. And then it drops right back down to 44.33 for the wave 2 support. So basically that, you did show a chart. So yeah, here's the sell order block that's kind of keeping price down for now. But since 44.33 will be support later, it's going to be resistance until it can break through. Then you'll get that crazy wick up probably, just like this one, 71, and then right back down to 44. That might only last less than a minute. Who knows? Then it starts to build a base up to 87. So let's just one crime at a time, though. Let's see if we can get to 44, like Matt said, on GME next. I'll do the ACHR because that's one I've been doing publicly for everybody for free. And I'm sorry, Matt, am I interrupting you?
No, I think that'll be the last one though, because I gotta go.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see. This wave 3, I was looking for 176.4. Maybe it was a little too much. Maybe it finished this wave 3 here, and that's your wave 4. No, that's a subwave anyway. The whole thing's in the wave 5. I'm just looking for it to get to about maybe 1758, but at minimum 1656 next. So this might be all of it. It might be done with the back testing. The wave 2 was kind of short. Maybe, except this is kind of long too. It's hard to say. I almost want to say Archer's gonna move soon. Gonna move sooner than later. So I'll be selling into 1650. I don't think I'm gonna chase the wick and try to get see if it goes to 1820 or not. But then after that, we get an ABC down, and then from there I can build a larger degree 1-2, and we can do the whole thing over again. So Archer Aviation, bullish on it from here for another 46% gain, almost 47% gain. All right, sorry I didn't get to do HNST, but I'll publish it after the show for you risky Ryan trades.
Perfecto. But yeah, stop fearing everything out there, guys. Everything should be fine. I don't see anything to worry about with the indices right now. Everything is just normal. Even with crypto, everything is normal. And actually, one last thing before I go is just wanted to show you Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin still didn't even touch this conversion line here, right? And people are screaming lower. It still didn't even touch the 94,322. It got down to 94,511, right? So even after this rejection, it still did not touch it. So how can I assume lower when it doesn't even test at least the conversion line? How can I assume that, guys? I can't do it until it proves that it wants to go lower. So for me, this is just normal, and it's still very bullish because after the breakout, it still has not even touched it. So with that said, I'm still bullish. Everything should end up being fine until proven otherwise.
Well, great advice. Words to live by. All right, thanks everybody. Good luck out there today. And remember, tomorrow is a federal holiday. No market open. We'll be back on Friday.
Guys.
Oh, no show either. Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
See y'all. I'll watch the show from last night if you didn't get a chance to. It's up there on YouTube and everywhere else.
Yep. Bye.